I'm going to try to make this quick because I have to get ready. I have to go to a funeral this morning. So I'm going to read this. This is Deuteronomy chapter 15. And it says here, at the end of every 7 years, you shall make a release. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lends aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Of a foreigner, you may exact it again, but that which is yours with your brother, thine hand shall release. Save when there shall be no poor among you, for the Lord shall greatly bless you in the land which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance to possess it. Only if you carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord your God, to observe to do all these commandments which I command you this day. For the Lord your God bless you as he promised you, and you shall lend unto many nations, but you shall not borrow. And you shall reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over you. Now, this is line 7. If there, but you shall open your hand wide unto him, and shall surely lend him sufficient for his need and that which he wants. Beware, this is line 9. Beware that there be not a thought in your wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release is at hand, and your eye be evil against your poor brother, and you give him nothing, and he cry unto the Lord against you, and it be sin unto you. You shall surely give him, and your heart shall not be grieved when you give unto him. Because that for this thing the Lord your God shall bless you in all your works and in all that you put your hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command you, saying, you shall open your hand wide unto your brother, to the poor, to your poor, and to your needy in the land. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, be sold unto you and serve you 6 years, then in the 7th year you shall let him go free from you. And when you send him out free from you, you shall not let him go away empty. You shall furnish him liberally out of your flock and out of your floor and out of your winepress, and of that wherewith the Lord your God hath blessed you, you shall give unto him. And you shall remember that you was a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. Therefore I command you this thing today. And it shall be, if he say unto you, I will not go away from you, because he loves you, and your house to your maid servant, you shall do likewise. It shall not seem hard unto you when you send him away free from you, for he have been worth a double hired servant to you, and serving you 6 years, and the Lord your God shall bless you in all that you do. So I stop there. So I like the idea of the Lord made it clear. Beware that there be not a thought in your wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release is at hand, and your sin in God's eyes. We see that that's a sin of selfishness and greed. To not be loving, not to be giving. It's not loving to sit back. Person, they're poor, they didn't this and they didn't that. Well, just because they didn't get as fortunate as you did, or got as much as you did, does not mean you sit back and don't think about them and say, well, they don't deserve this. Well, how would you feel if God says, well, you don't deserve my love either, you don't deserve my salvation, so maybe I should just never die on a cross for you? But that's not the type of heart God has towards us. He's a good God with a good heart, a heart bigger than this world can put all together. And one of the biggest things that God calls us to do as his children is to love one another, even our enemies. So if you see somebody hungry, you see your enemy hungry, you see someone who's the poor and needy of your land, you're not to hold anything against their head. You're not to bribe them. You're not to do any of those things because it's evil in the eyes and sight of the Lord. And there's a lot of that goes on even to this day. I hear a lot of that. You see a lot of that where people are so much in pride and they don't ever see it. They walk past the person that's in need and poor and they make a judgment. Oh, that man probably was on drugs. Oh, that man, well, I ain't giving him nothing. Or I'm not giving her nothing. You know, I worked hard for my money. She should have done the same. How do you not know that she worked hard for her money? And even if she didn't, who are you to judge her? What if she was ill? What if she was going through heart? That's an evil person. When I say evil person, I'm not saying that, I'm not of sin or we were not all of sin. We all have a evilness in our heart. But when I say evil person, I mean a person that just overlooks wickedness. They go along with evil. They don't care to think about it. It don't prick their heart. That's evilness. To sit back and think like that and say, well, I'm not giving because, I worked hard and this is my money. It's selfishness. It's evil. It's not loving. God don't care if you worked and got this. You don't get, that doesn't, and the part where he talked about when they worked for you for 6 years, you're a double hired servant. After 7 years, you had to let him go and not empty either. You had to give him the best of best if they were your servant. And the only way they can stay your servant forever is if they decide to and made a covenant, like something like saying, I don't want to leave you. Then that's the only time to and made a covenant, like something like saying, I don't want to leave you. Then that's the only time they can stay your servant if they choose to be your servant. And he told them, remember when you were bondmen in Egypt. So that's how good our God is. We see a lot of this where people try to manipulate the word of God and try to say, oh, God is about slavery. He's about this. That's not. If he was about that, he would never free them from Egypt. He would never freed you from sin. He would never tell them to make sure your servant, who you doubled hired and got all this extra work off of, do not send them away empty-handed. And don't be grieved. Like he's telling you better let him go. The only way you stay a servant is if they choose to be your servant. So you sure God supports slavery? You know what I mean? See the foolishness you see in mankind or the lies they make, brother, and right here, it shows you what kind of God we serve. And he's a righteous God. He says, and he cry unto the Lord against you, it be sin unto you to do something like that. I'm going to tell you, I've had too many situations, or I've came across situations, or I've heard of them where people are selfish towards the poor and needy of their land, people they pass by, and there's just no heart or anything that pricks them because they're selfish. My father one time mentioned a story about a woman, right, that came by. She had a daughter and they were hungry. This is going back a long time ago. It's going back maybe 20 plus years ago. I have your pants on the bed. I left pants on your bed. I'll get it for you. Okay. 20 plus years ago, he came home. He mentioned about a woman that had a daughter, a little child, and she was living in her car. Let me get another glass of water. Because I have to get ready myself once my husband gets out of there. And she was hungry. She wasn't asking for money, but even if she did, okay, fine. She was hungry. She wanted to feed her daughter. She goes in the pizza place. My father goes to order, right? And there was a man with his son, he stated, with I guess a group of other people. and they were mocking her, making fun of this woman. And I forgot what they said, but my father said it was very mean. And my father says, he went and says, I'll buy her pizza. He bought her like a pie pizza, I think, to make sure her and her daughter can eat. And he told them, he warned them, like, you never know if it's going to be you someday. And they all like stayed quiet because they realized, ooh, I did wickedness. I did evil. I made fun of a poor person. I didn't know their situation, was quick to judge them. Even if somebody did make mistakes, and let's say they did some stupid things with their life, or they just was unwise and they end up poor, did God sit back and tell you to walk past them if they see them suffering and they're hungry and don't take care of them? No, God told us to love and to give, take care of the widows, the fatherless, the poor, the needy. We don't get to sit back and judge that and say, well, I feel like you didn't work hard enough, so let me go take that and give you nothing. That's evil. That's evil heart that needs to be fixed by the Lord. That way of thinking is wicked before the Lord. You may say, well, I didn't do nothing bad to them. It doesn't matter. Your way of thinking is already evil. It's evil heart. To even think that I don't have to give, I don't have to this, I don't have to that. It's selfishness, because, when it comes down to you and the things you're going through in life, you want people to think about you. When you're going through sad times and depression, you're going to want people to think about you. And how would you feel if somebody walks past you and say, well, that is not my problem. Well, that's not my fault. You slept with him. Well, you slept with that guy. You get what you deserve. Mm-hmm. Well, oh, well, I don't care about you. It's one thing if somebody says, they've warned you several times and you keep making the same mistakes, and they say, look, I've tried to warn you over and over again, stop sleeping with this guy, and they've, reached out to you and it's like, I'm not sure what else to tell you. You know what I mean? But they still care enough to say, look, I've tried to warn you, but you got to start making some changes in your life. But if somebody's going through depression, you're going through depression because you made a mistake and you're like, I effed up. And someone says, well, that's your fault. That ain't my problem. You need to learn to do better. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I'm depressed and I feel hurt. Well, that ain't my problem. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Look, that's her problem. I don't care about her. They see them crying and they're like, that ain't my problem. They don't have no kind of concern, no kind of empathy. No kind of, are you okay? Or thinking about you or praying for you or saying, is there something I do? Would you like a cup of coffee? Come on. You know what I mean? They don't think, it doesn't prick their heart to see that person in pain. There's something wrong. You got an evil heart. But you know what? If you were going through that, somebody had that kind of attitude towards you, you would think they're an evil person. But, if you're sitting there and you're doing that to people and you're walking past people and you don't care about their needs, you don't care about their suffering, you don't care about their pain, you just feel like, oh, well, I ain't giving nothing. You stuffing your money in your pockets and you're eating good. One of these days, you're going to pass by somebody and you're going to be going through tough times, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, whether it's your health, and they're going to be somebody who'll pass by and not care about you. And you're going to be sitting there talking about, I can't believe somebody will be so wicked and evil to sit back and don't even care. Your friend, you call them up. I'm going through things. Oh, well, that's life, honey. Well, I'm not sure what to tell you. I said, how can you say something like that? And they're like, well, that's just life. So I don't know, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to think that person's evil. But again, you sat there and overlooked everybody in your life, and you overlooked people in your life. And then when it comes back on you, you're going to be upset, and you're going to get the back end and the burn of what you did to other people. And it's going to be a wake-up call for you. It's very, very wicked. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that think that way in our society. That's what's a reminder. When I read that, that's a reminder. A lot of people think that way in our society. They think, well, I don't need to do anything. I don't owe nobody nothing. Of course you don't owe nobody nothing. It's not about you owing somebody. It's about being loving. It's about moving in God's way and expressing his love. And if you move the devil's way, you're going to express hatred. You're going to express selfishness and self-entitlement. Me. And guess what? When something happens to you and people do the same in return to you, you're going to be hurt. And you're going to say, what did I do? I don't understand what I did to deserve that kind of treatment. Well, think back how you treated people. Think back how you treated people when people were hurting and in need. Take it as a life lesson. So, that's the scripture I read, Deuteronomy 15. And I think a lot about that when I read that, and how there's a lot of people in the society that got so much to say and they don't want to give, and they're mean and their heart's bare. I've seen that. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that. And they walk past a person that's in need, and the first thing they're doing is judging them. Oh, I ain't helping them. I ain't giving them nothing. You're not going to at least give them a coat. You don't have to give them money. You can give them food. Give them water. Give them a coat. It's cold outside. You have the means to do it. But no, you walked past and you judged with that evil heart and thought, well, that ain't my problem. We all got to do our part in society. So if you didn't do that, well, that ain't my problem. Okay, well, when someone sees you and down about, guess what? And they walk past you, going to say, it's not my problem. You broken down the side of the road. You ain't got money because you had a bill come out and you're like, I need help. Well, you should have worked harder. And that's why you don't have money in your savings. See how they just quickly judged you and just drove right off. And now you're going to get the back end of the burn. You're going to say, that's so messed up that somebody could just walk past somebody like that, don't care. But you know what? Don't forget when you did that. So I'm going to get going. I'm going to shower and I got a funeral to go to. Take care, everybody, and God bless. Bye-bye.